Okay, so we're going to run a little update on my little PCM fuel gauge project. As you can look at here, I have cleaned up the wiring for that considerably. It is now loomed up with my electric fans wiring, which goes under here. You can't see very well, but you can see it goes over here. And then I've got them coming out of the loom here. And I have a connector on the end that may be permanent, but I'm not entirely sure about that yet. So I've got that there, and then down here you can see there's that green and dark green wire with the connector, and it's just kind of twisted up there. That enables my fuel gauge to work in its stock configuration, because this connector is currently soldered to both the gauge output and the fuel sending unit input, or I guess the other way around, either way you want to look at it. So right now my fuel gauge is reading a little low. I have it just about to the point where I'm almost afraid of running out of gas, but I don't think it will. But needless to say, I am pushing it. It is sitting down pretty low right now. So what I'm gonna do right now is, you see I got, and my bassy explosion stuff going on in here. I downloaded some new music last night. Yeah. So what was I saying? Okay. This guy goes to the PCM, the input and output. I've soldered and heat shrink the connections on both ends. But right now I'm going to go ahead and disconnect this guy, which is going to make the fuel gauge go crazy. In fact, you will get to watch the fuel gauge while I make it go crazy. And as you can see, I am now over full because there is now an open in the circuit. And this is pretty much all that is. So, this is the PCM connector, and this is probably how I'm going to keep the wiring, except I'm going to shove it in this loom along with the electric fan wiring and just have it come out where all the other electric fan wiring does. And it's going to plug in right there at this connector, which you can just barely see in this light. It is dark, clearly. So I'm going to plug this in, and we'll see what the PCM thinks for my fuel gauge right now. I don't think it's going to be anywhere near correct. Actually, it says it's empty. Like dead straight freaking empty as hell right now. But here's the thing. I'm gonna open up my VCM scanner and get it rolling up in here, and we're gonna see what our voltage on the thing is. As I recall, the voltage before was like 1.27. Now it's at 0.25. So needless to say, it has dropped quite a ways. And now is almost a dead short, which would mean the tank is empty. Let's just say it's very close right now, and I'm needing to go get fuel. So I'm going to do that now, but I'm going to log my sensor by itself, if I can get it to do that. And we're just going to, okay, no, I don't want to do that. Okay, looks like if I just zoom out and zoom in, it clears the timetable. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to log it, and I'm going to record the log, and we'll see how that goes. And we see if I run out of fuel on the way, because if I ran out of fuel on the way, that would really, really suck. It's about 7 miles from me here. Okay, yeah, the time is, oh, nope, it comes back. Oh well, no big deal. Anyway, yeah, so I'm going to log that, and we're going to see how well this works. Actually, I have something to flash over to the PCM first, because what I've done is I want to see exactly where on this graph it's going to work. So I've got my primary volume. All of the values are set to the axes values. So this will tell me where my fuel gauge is sitting. Or not where the fuel gauge is sitting, but where the PCM detects the fuel gauge. And as you can see, I've put that I have a 256 gallon tank, which will give it all the way up to the 256 mark, as you can see, hopefully. And yeah, the gauge output is still the same from what it was before. It's still linear across the board, low 1150 and high of 7051. Those are the points I found to be the right points for my gauge. So that part is right. Well, the linear part needs to be kind of messed around with a little bit, but you get the idea. So I'm going to flash this over to my PCM real quick. Go offline so I can actually do that, and we'll flash. I'll write that, and it can do its thing while I'm closing the hood and everything. And you can see if my fuel gauge actually does anything useful. I'm not sure if it will, but we'll see. Yeah, it's still sitting. Whoa! And the camera took a dive and busted the lens. No, I didn't bust the lens. It's just pushed in a little bit, and now the lens is dirty because I just touched it. Good job. Alright, I'm going to shut this segment off now and log this thing and see what we get. Let's close this, close this. I don't need to worry about that anymore. So let's see how many gallons this thing thinks I have at the moment. No gallons at all. It thinks this thing is completely dead. What? That doesn't make any sense. Oh well. They'll figure it out somehow. Maybe. Now it looks like we've found pretty much close to what's going to be the top. 1.451 volts. We weren't as far down as I thought I was. I've only about 22.7 gallons put in the tank just now, so I still had at least another 3 to go, but about as close as I ever want to go with it. And so this thing is still doing its loggy thing, and will continue to do so on the way home just to see if the cinder volts goes any higher. It probably will, because I'm not sure if I got the tank completely filled, because they're having issues with their pumps right now, and they are having people come in and prepay inside, and unfortunately that means you can't just go up to whatever your truck takes and let the car charge itself. No, you have to set amounts. It's ridiculous, but anyway, the cinder hasn't moved at all, or the gauge hasn't moved much at all, despite that. But then again, 74 of 256 is kind of a low ratio, so I can kind of see that. But we're gonna go now and go from there. Thank you. Get that idle under control for once. Yay. Well, we made it home despite having way less than an eighth of a tank, but whoa, the camera went for a dive when I opened my hood. So we're gonna find out. It's like, okay, I know this is PCM controlled, so I know it's not right, but I'm gonna go ahead and put my bypass in so that it'll run like stock and see where it sits at. Okay, so that is what the fuel sending unit is actually sending to the gauge right now. So yeah, needless to say, we are full of fuel. And that's, it's going to be interesting just getting the tune figured out properly. In the meantime, I think what I'm going to do is, since I know what the low voltage is, I can just run this thing based on the voltage of the sensor. Because if I know where the low voltage is, I know when I'm about to run out of fuel. So as long as I just keep the log on it. Plus, I know about how many miles it'll go in a single run, which is really helpful. About 300 miles per tank before I generally refill. I know it'll do more than that, but that's usually what I set it at. So I'm going to plug the PCM back into this thing and leave it, and we'll get this thing properly tuned eventually. And that'll be the end of this night, for now. Okay, so one final update before I finish out this video completely. I've gone ahead and set capacity back to 26, set the sender max 80 to 100. I don't even remember what it was set to. I could pretty easily find out, but I don't really care. But the more important thing here is I've set the primary volume for the moment to 0 up to 20, and then I've got 24 through 80 interpolated. But this guy right here, I just selected the values and interpolated, and Diva wants to eat my camera strap as usual. So I've got that, and like I said, it ends in 80 despite this table having up to 256. It's kind of crazy. But I'm going to flash that to the computer tomorrow, and we will see if it works. And that is truly the end of the video. Bye!